Hey everyone, and thank you so much for joining us at the show that asks you to pull out your chairs, get your TTRPG books, and join us at the table. We have a big treat and some very great conversation about something exciting that happened. But before we do, we're going to get into a brief introduction, starting with Mr. Michael Powell. Tell them who you are and where they can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
Well, as always, I am Michael Powell, and you can find me all over the internet on my social media, which is at Mr. Kapow. That's MRKAPAO. What about you, PJ?
My name is PJ McGaw. You can find me all over the internet at pj.mcgaw, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And without further ado, what we're going to be talking about is, well, maybe a little while ago you heard about it. The PaizoCon Online 2021 just dropped, and with it, some really awesome announcements and some exciting new things. And we're going to be discussing this in depth. So open up your ears, get in the comments and chat, and let us know what you think about these really cool products, because I am so excited for the last one and the one in the middle. Talk about it.
All of it. Let's get to it. Let's do it.
We're going to be discussing with you about the PaizoCon Online 2021 that happened just this past weekend. If you were there and you saw it, please tell us what you think as we go through things. Share your thoughts and feelings and vibes. And if you haven't seen it, hope you like what we're about to talk about. And please don't be afraid to ask questions. Let's have fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting. It was my first PaizoCon event that I was kind of at. So I was able to jump in a couple of panels, weigh in, and actually learned a lot of really cool stuff this weekend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's been...
this...
Go ahead, sorry.
No, please continue.
Oh, I was going to say,
please continue.
There has been... Wow. They announced a lot of books for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. There's been, there's 12 new products, which includes 6 game books, and then 6 new Pathfinder 2nd Edition adventures. This stream, we're basically going to be talking about Pathfinder 2nd Edition, but they have also announced a lot of really cool stuff for like Starfinder and stuff like that. But we're going to focus on the Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
Absolutely. And if you guys want to talk Starfinder, please let us know. Starfinder, I remember it first came out like 2016, 2017. There was a lot of like curiosity about it. And I was able to play the system a little bit. I liked a lot of what it had to offer. Unfortunately, I couldn't really get a solid game going. So I'm really excited to see Starfinder has been kind of breaking back into the gaming world in the past couple of years. So if you want someone at your table to play a space person, please, I'd love to give it another shot. I have a Solarian I've been dying to whip out. But also, Starfinder's great. Pathfinder 2 is also great. And we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. And kind of the order of the new product releases, we're going to be talking about, we're going to go down in the order of when they're being released. So, stuff that's out right now, because, there's something already out. They announced it this weekend, and it's out now. All the way to next year.
And let me tell you, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm so hyped for the really cool stuff coming out next year. And if you guys stick around, you're going to be hyped too, because it's really good.
Yeah. Anyway, one of the stuff that's going to be out next year, I was watching that panel, and we were in chat. We were all, ooh, so good.
So,
anyway.
No spoilers. We got to talk about it. Let's get into this, because I'm so freaking hype.
Do you want to kick us off with the new, that new one-shot?
Yeah. So I'm really excited about this, because, like, let's say you're doing actual plays, you're doing shows, or you just want to, like, pick up a quick game with friends and maybe even use it as, like, an origin story for your characters. It's never a bad idea to use a one-shot for an origin story. This one is exciting. It's called Dinner at Lion Lodge. It's available now. You can go pick it up now if you want to. You start off at 4th level, so you already have some numbers behind you, and you're kind of already getting an idea about what your character is, at least build-wise. This one-shot lasts about 3 to 4 hours, so it's a great Session 0/Session 1 game if you want to build a campaign off of it. Now, you use pre-generated characters that have backstories tied to the plot of the adventure. You can discuss your GM if it works to work around that. If you just want to play for fun, take it at face value. You are invited to a hunting lodge to attend a grand dinner. And initially, You're initially called forth to go on an exciting hunt the following day, and then an uncomfortable meal causes some trepidation. The eccentric hunters who inhabits the lodge has other plans for his guest. So let your mind run with that. Is it like
Yeah.
Clue? Is it like Manhunt? Whatever it is,
Mhm.
it's a really fun game.
And if you just really want to be spoiled, I believe the VOD is up on the Paizo Twitch right now because they actually played this game this past weekend.
Ah, yeah. There's a lot of really awesome games being played. A lot of friends of the
Mhm.
channel were on doing really cool shows like the Dot Network, the
Mhm.
D&T Network. We're doing a show. Definitely go check it out.
Yeah,
And Reapsaki says, "Holy crap! Sounds like the Lost Spirits Distillery tour." Yeah, imagine that, but with swords and spells.
mhm. It looks interesting, and like you said, definitely if this is one of those games where, hey, maybe it's a bunch of friends who don't gather together as much regularly and just
Mhm.
want to, hey, we have a couple hours, let's play some Pathfinder. Not a big
Yeah.
campaign or adventure path. Let's just do something a one-off. This is perfect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you're playing at level 4, you get options.
Yeah, you're not now. A lot of these are pre-generated,
Hmm.
right? Because that's how it's
Yeah.
written. But if you can figure out as a GM how to work this into like a session one, session
Hmm.
zero, you have a really kick-ass start for like instead of oh we stumbled into a tavern, nah, we did this hunting BS and it was
Oh yeah.
dark.
Oh god, what's that? What's that? It's a movie with Jean Claude Van Damme. He's in New Orleans and he's basically in a man. It's like a manhunt
Oh
type of.
man,
God, I forget. It's not Lionheart, but
no.
there was a movie. It had was it the diabetes guy?
Oh, Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, Wilford Brimley was in it too. He's a
Oh,
with a Cajun accent, and he uses a bow and arrow.
I mean, I gotta be honest. That sounds really good. It sounds bad, but like a really good bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh god, it was a really good bad movie.
Oh man, I would love to see it. I love Jean-Claude Van Damme stuff in the '80s, and I feel like the trope of like going to a dinner, like a not the trope. I guess it's a bit of a
Hmm.
trope. Going to a dinner and then like finding out you're the main course has been used a lot, but it can really put up some interesting.
Oh yeah.
Like you, holy crap! You want to rise to action. The rise to action is don't get eaten right now. It's really good.
Yeah.
Uh,
And like I said
mhm.
before, like you said before, actually, this could also be a really good start of a longer campaign, especially if you don't want to do that tired trope of we're all at a tavern and we meet. You could be random people
Yeah.
thrown together at this dinner party. You don't know each other, but you band together because of this shared, I guess you could say, trauma.
See, like, because that's the thing. I hate the whole you start off in a tavern. I get why it's used, but my feeling is if you're going to start us off in the tavern, something wholly unique has to happen. Like, hey, you like with Edge of Legends, like, hey, you guys meet in a town during a festival. La 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 la. What's unique? You're surviving a siege attack. Like the whole town is getting peppered by arrows. That is interesting and gets your attention.
Oh yeah.
Um, Jump in the chat. Reap Psyche says cannon trip fodder. Yeah, it's a great weekend. A great way to kill 4 hours. Eric Jackson says he remembers the movie you mentioned. Reap Psyche said it's called Hard Target.
Yeah, yeah.
And shared trauma is best trauma. Oh, it's trauma bonding.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right. Well, next up we have. Ooh, this is another adventure. This is a third level standalone adventure, which means while this is not a one shot, this is an adventure that maybe I would say 3 to 5 session ish. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
want to say it's called Malevolence, and it's going to be released in May. Which, yeah, I think it's actually no, it'll be released this upcoming month in a couple of weeks, I believe. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
this is really cool because it's a dungeon, but the dungeon is a haunted house. So if you like your
Yeah.
spoopies, this is where you get your spoopies. Uh, the let's see, it takes place in a haunted house. The house has stood abandoned on its lonely hilltop, brooding quietly over the ruins of a once thriving town for decades. No one has lived within its walls since the night a terrific storm flooded the coastal town below, and since a tragedy struck down the noble family that once dwelt within, but now the mansion has attracted the attention of a curious group of adventurers. What is the truth behind the tragic past that empowers the evil that grips the mansion today? And what might happen to the world of Galarion if the sinister influences that grow within these haunted walls are allowed to build beyond its breaking points? And it features sinister new monsters, mysterious magical items, and new spells to discover. So while this is an adventure, it will have some new stuff for players and GMs to play with, like items and spells and new monsters.
Yeah, I always love that about how the adventure paths give you something excited about to buy the materials. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not just the campaign; it's also the expansion of the greater Paizo gaming verse. Like here's new magical items, runes, creatures for the bestiary. So it really incentivizes this, and I freaking love this. I'm really curious if the new spells to discover are gonna show up in another book, which I want to announce later, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Um, so so the malevolent sounds like it's a really good adventure path to get another campaign started, or if you just kind of want to play a low like 3 to 6 level game.
Yeah.
Um, but what I think is also kind of exciting is the next thing on this list coming out
Mm.
in July of this year. So like in a month, we're gonna get the Mwangi Expanse lore book. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
you weren't there to check this out on the Paizo Online, the Mwangi Expanse lore book is essentially again a giant book, kind of like all the Lost Omens books, but this is going to have a new ancestry. The Grippoli, the Frog
Yeah.
people are coming in full force. So if you want to play a Battletoad, get your Grippoli, put a monk level on it, and let's have a stupidly good time.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be released in June for, excuse me, $49.99. Part of the Lost Omens
Is
series.
Yeah, yeah, and the Mwangi Expanse is awesome. If you know anything about the lore of that world or what it is, it's basically
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the Galarian African continent, and it's really cool. What I love about it, besides all the things that do with magic and the world building, is that it kind of solves some of the problematic issues with like Drow and stuff, where like there are African elves in Mwangi, and you
Mm.
get to have a fully realized original black elf without just as a person existing without this kind of weird trepidatious um, um, evil inclination that's there with the Drow lore. And I know they're changing the Drow lore now,
Mm-hmm.
which is good, but like this also kind of solves that problem of like you're not a elf who is black and evil. Like the Drow assertion is, no, you're a black, you're from Africa. Their version, and so I really like that idea. I really like what they're
Yeah.
growing with that continent.
Yeah. And also, not just like elves inspired by African cultures, but also
Mhm.
dwarves as well.
Yes.
Hmm. And
I
also,
think I want to
not just
say.
elf and dwarfs,
I'm sorry.
actually, and Gripplies. There's a total of 6 new ancestries. Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna have to cover those. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you mind if I run through these really quick?
Go right ahead.
I'm probably gonna mispronounce something, so chat, correct me, and PJ, you could also correct me if you know as well.
I'll try.
All right. The first one is no. That one's the one I know. So you can actually play a no character now. Uh,
Is it Knoll or no?
I I always pronounce it no. No.
G N
Gnoll.
O L.
Yeah.
Knoll. Yeah, sorry,
No.
I couldn't
Yeah.
hear the L, so I want to
Oh
make sure
yeah.
I heard that correctly.
So yeah, you could be. It joins basically the traditional monstrous races that's already been released, like the orcs, the goblins, the hobgoblins, stuff like that. And
The
the next
kobolds,
one
yeah.
is called the Anandi, Anadi, which I'm gonna check out really quick. Yeah, the spider-like race.
One second. I just gotta knock at my door. I'll be right back. Please
Okay.
keep talking about the spider race.
Yeah, but yeah, the Nandi are I'm basically looking this up all right now. They're a species of peaceful, spider-like humanoids with natural talents for illusion and transmutation magic, and they look really cool. They may not have, at least in the art that I'm looking at right now, multiple spider arms, but oh man, honestly, to me, they look like a cross between, what do you call them, an owl and a moth, more than a
Interesting.
spider. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, also, Eric Jackson, thank you so much for tuning in. Gotta go work calls. I understand. Have a great one. Look forward to seeing you Wednesday, and hope you have a great day at work.
Mm-hmm. And the next one is called the Go. Okay, this one I'm not entirely sure. Goloma, Goloma.
It's either Goloma or Golema.
Yeah. Let's see, looking this up really quick. I'm not too familiar with this. Like I said, I'm not an expert on the Pathfinder like official world here, so this is all me just looking stuff up.
Let's see here. Golema Pathfinder. Trying to get the name of it so I can be like, it's announced like this. Um, go to the Pathfinder wiki and see if I can find it.
Hmm. But moving on really quick, there's also the Gripply, which are our Froggy Boys that we recently just talked about. Very interesting. And let's see. I'm really looking forward to playing one of those. And then we have the Conrasu, Conrasu. See. It's a. Let's see. It's. I'm looking at it, and it's literally one of the things that popped up is so Conrasu, an ancestry we know literally nothing about.
Awesome. We go and learn. It's gonna be exciting. They're
Yeah, but
they're
it
adding
looks
so much
like
to it.
I'm looking at the art. It looks, ooh, it looks like a construct race, kinda.
It might be what I've been seeing with kind of the Mwangi Expanse is that they're really opening up a lot of unique and brand new exciting forms of ancestries and versatile heritages that could only exist in Mwangi. So you get really cool like I don't say variants, but whole new versions of something that present a very different cultural identity. So it's going to be really exciting. Um,
Yeah, and
that
and the
being, yeah,
oh, I was saying, and the last one is an ancestry called the Shisk, Shisk.
is that the snake people or the bug people?
It could be.
Because I'm seeing the artwork too. And I'm like, these look amazing,
Yeah,
but they're not. They're
these I'm
not
just looking
labeling
these up
anything.
right now.
So basically, in July, around June, July, we're going to get a new book, Mwangi Expanse, amazing lore, amazing place setting, especially if you want to have a really great experience in that world. And
Mhm.
there's going to be a whole bunch of new awesome ancestries. We're probably going to cover them too. And you're going to get some amazing opportunities to really delve deeper into a brand new character concept.
Mhm.
Um, and speaking of things coming out in June and July, do you want to cover this one? Because I know you're very excited when
Oh
we read
yeah.
the prep book.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. We did the prep book, so it's actually also already up on our YouTube. So if you want to check it out, boom, right there. It's the Fist of the Ruby Phoenix. This one's really cool because it's all three books are being released on July 7th. All of them at once. Paizo said this is something that the first time they did something like this, and might be the only time they did something like this. And the reason why was because during quarantine there were shipping delays, so that's why these books weren't released on schedule. So they're like, you know what? Let's release all of them at once. All of them once. This might be the only time they're doing it. So yeah, it's a level
Yeah.
11 adventure path featuring a tournament that happens every 10 years. And yeah, if you're looking to do kind of like Yu Yu Hakusho, dark tournament saga story, this is the adventure path for you.
Yeah, I remember when we covered the prep book. It was so cool what they were in theory like saying. It's one of the few campaigns that if you beat it, you're going to be level 20. So you get to experience level 20 gameplay for a change. There's going to
Mm-hmm.
be the first part where it's basically the Hunger Games. The second part where it's like like a good old fashioned tournament arc, and the third part, who can even say? I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Mm-hmm. And also, like I said, this is something definitely if you're looking for a game to last you, I want to say from during the summer all the way till the end of the year to the
Hmm.
next adventure path that we're going to talk about later on. This is
Yeah.
perfect.
Also, it's great if you like combat and like story.
Oh yeah.
It's a really great marriage. And this next one,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm legitimately vibrating for this next book. In August of this year, we're finally getting Secrets of Magic. If you
Yeah.
saw our talk with the playtest, the Magus and the Summoner are coming out. I have no idea how they've approached the Magus because during the playtest that thing was insanely broken. So I'm really curious how they've done with that and the summoner. It's going to come with 100 plus spells. So there's a whole new spell potential for every class in the game. It's going to have a whole buttload of new magic items. So your warriors, your wizards are going to thank you all this new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also so exciting. I don't know why I'm so giddy about this. They're going to release variant magic systems, rune magic, like runes, blood magic coming from blood, possibly sacrifice, possibly rituals, and soul bound weapons bound to your very soul. This is just going to grow everything so much. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah. As someone who actually, I just realized I have played both of the playtests. Yeah, like we said before, Megas. Oh man, it could be so broken. But I'm honestly more interested in Summoner because there were some issues with Summoner when we played our one shot last year that I
Mm-hmm.
would like to see addressed. So I'm really interested to see this. And also, because these are going to be core classes, I'm interested to see what do you call it, the archetype versions of these core classes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Holy, especially the archetypes. Can you imagine
Mm-hmm.
getting the Magus dedication and mixing that in with, I mean, any number of bonkers melee class?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it's easy to say barbarian because their damage output is
Yeah.
freaking stupid, but could you imagine like a champion Magus? Oh no, that's what I'm gonna have to play.
Ooh,
Oh, I'm gonna have to play it. Oh
I'm
no.
wondering just how OP Benny Cage could be with the finalized Magus.
Monk Magus hybrid.
Yeah, but I'm interested in seeing the Summoner archetype because I'm really hoping it's not just going to be, oh, their Eidolon is pretty much a familiar. I'm hoping they build upon it more than that.
Well, I see. I feel weird about that because, like, if you guys read the rules about familiars, they're kind of stilted as far as
Hmm.
possibilities go. Familiars are kind of like creatures that are sponges that you can use magic to change some of the things they can do, but they're really not combat oriented, and they're really an extension of your magic,
Hmm.
unless you're a witch, in which case you're reliant upon their existence to get your magic. But they're kind of their utility.
Yeah.
They are 100% utility and don't really offer much else. Animal Companion is at least something that can be utility and can be combat. However, I'm really hoping with Summoner, what they're doing is that they are releasing something that can be both major class utility, major class mechanic, and magical aptitude,
Hmm.
which may be why they will have that stilted magical system where they only get like two or three
Yeah.
spells at level because their summon does everything themselves.
Yeah.
Reap Psyche put in the chat, unleash the floodgates of content and give Wolfslayer access to the books so I don't
Hmm.
have to think anymore during character build at
Ooh.
least. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm actually now kind of thinking, ooh, this might be possible because if they do it right, the summon archetype could actually redeem the Oracle class, or vice versa, the Oracle archetype.
It could. It could depends on what they do. Because one of the biggest problems of Summoner that I remember we talked about was that whenever your Eidolon suffers damage,
Hmm.
because it has its own HP pool, and I think so do you. But
Yeah.
when it takes damage, you both take damage.
Hmm.
And if you are a squishy character, like I think their HP was a D10 at the time, or a 10, I should say. But if you multi-class with Oracle as your base and you're getting Oracle HP, but you're taking tank damage from your summoned class or summoned Eidolon, you could just kill yourself that much faster. You know what
PJ,
I mean?
I just realized something.
Yeah.
If you're a rogue and you
Hmm.
have a summoner archetype, you could give yourself flanking. You could give yourself. Oh, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You could flat foot someone.
Yeah.
Oh, you could have. Oh, your Eidolon could basically be your spirit form, and yeah, that would be.
Oh, we could
Ooh,
go
I would
full
love to take
on.
that.
We can go full on Shikamaru, and it's just like your shadow. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Oh,
there's
they have that
already a
shit with
tether on how
shadow.
far it can go.
There's a
Yeah, and
shadow.
it
There's
can
a
still be
shadow
like in a
archetype
cult.
too.
Yeah.
Combine
Oh,
those
the
two.
Shadow Dancer. Oh.
Ooh, ooh,
Oh my
oh
God.
man. Now, okay, before we go into the deep dive, let's jump onto the next one because ooh.
Yeah, we're getting excited. But
Yeah.
Secrets of Magic. Look, when I get it in August, don't call me for a week. I will be too busy reading this book like a schoolboy.
Uh-huh. All right. The next book we have out, it's going to be out in August. It's the first book of the adventure path called Strength of Thousands. The first adventure path book is going to be called, let's see, Kindled Magic. Players will start as a level one with level one characters who are students at the oldest and most prestigious magic academy in the world in the Mwangi expanse called the Ma-
Magambia.
Mangambia, and they'll start off as students, and so that's a really interesting route.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I really like
yeah,
this.
yeah, it's a 6-part monthly series where you're going to basically go from level 1 to 20. And real quick, um, if you don't want to hear spoilers, put your hands over your ears for the next for the next little bit because yeah, I'm going to give you 3 seconds.
Three, two, one. Spoiler.
You and your party are going to be taking off, are going to leave the planet of Galarion. We're going interstellar.
Going to space.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
or at least you're going to another plane or realm. It's gonna be dope,
yeah,
whatever it
the
is.
developer who talked about this during the online panel said this is probably their to date best adventure path they've worked on. They've done, and ooh, I'm actually really interested because I'm not too familiar with Galarion and the fact that you're gonna be exploring the galaxy where Galarion takes place in. I've done some little wiki, lookups. It's pretty interesting actually. There's other planets in the Galarion system that, once again, spoilers. There's other races and they're inhabitable. Some of them.
Yeah. Well, if you ever played Starfinder, you kind of have seen the the end potential of this. You know, you see like the bug people, the Kashunta is another group, the psychic people, the tall cone heads with like the forearms. Starfighter's got some crazy stuff,
Mm.
and so this is going to be what I love about this is that it is guaranteed if you beat it a 1 to 20 experience, which again. That lauded level 20, no one ever gets to. So it guarantees a full growth. And what's
Mm.
also dope is that they have a very clear vision. You are in um, you're in a magic school learning magic, and you will become one of the teachers of this school when you retire. It is such a focused and well thought out narrative structure that this is just so exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm probably guessing you're gonna free archetype for magical crap. So if you're
Oh,
not a
actually,
wizard, you're a melee class. You can do that.
actually, yes. It does. They said during the panel that if you don't have a caster class, everybody starts off with a free archetype of a magic casting class. So if you're a barbarian, you get a free archetype of a caster class.
So, it's gonna get stupid. But
Yeah.
yeah, so if you want to flip the bird to Harry Potter, this is the best way to do it, my dude.
And also, ooh, I just now thought about this. Because you're
Hmm.
gonna be going interstellar, this could actually somehow, with some creative GMing, link up into Starfinder. You could take your game from
Absolutely.
Pathfinder to Starfinder.
I would say with caution, because
Yeah,
absolutely you
true,
could.
true.
But Starfinder exists like 50,000 years in the future. There's a huge time gap. But that's only because to kind of explain how Galarian discovered warp speed,
Hmm.
and but you could still use it to go to like the Savage World versions of these other planets.
Yeah.
That being said, because as I think at this point we may have spoiled the surprise a bit. Let's go to the next one: Lost Omens Grand Bazaar. This is coming out in October, as well as something else we'll mention in a bit. And this is very exciting because this is a GM compendium. This is not an adventure path, but what it is, it's a dummy thick book full of
Mm.
new stuff. You're going to be getting new weapons, new armors, new magic items, um, new animal companions to use for druids. This is just a giant thick book of stuff to add to your campaigns for your players, for your enemies, and on top of all of that, all these new items come with a buttload of new NPC shops. So you get to look at this thick book full of amazing new equipment and abilities and magic and all this good stuff. And as a GM, you can use this as inspiration for shops to put in your world that could be interesting and exciting and not just a menu of ways to spend gold.
Oh yeah, and we don't have the graphic here right now. I might put it in post, but it comes with a huge map. And if you like maps, ooh, this is big. And also for somebody aren't as who isn't as familiar with the world of Galarion, like me, this is an indispensable tool if you're going to be running a game there or you're going to be playing in a game that takes place in the setting.
Yeah,
I
and
kind of want to say this is gonna be like when you say dummy thick, like this is like I think like 400 pages.
yeah, it's 400 pages of just equipment and content. Like it's oof. I'm just gonna say this. All the online SRDs are gonna have a field day when this thing drops, trying to catch up with the release to add to their
Mhm.
archives. Oh, it's gonna be
Yeah,
insane.
I think No Nat actually in his video said that was going to be like 400 pages or something. But I'm just looking up now. It says 128. So, hmm.
Still, I mean, 128 pages filled with new weapons, swords, magical armor as well, accessories, utility items, talismans, animal companions you can get, probably new familiars and familiar options, as well as
Oh
the
yeah.
secret and magic, and of course, a whole bunch of NPC
Mhm.
shops and shop concepts to throw into your world.
Yeah, I wanna explore Galarion now. I'm like really interested in its lore.
Galarian's a really cool place with some really cool lore. It really covers a massive, and you have Galarian, Mwangi, Lost
Mhm.
Omens. They're all a part of the same planet, but they all have very interesting
Yeah.
lore tidbits.
Hmm.
Mm.
All right. Our next book is another standalone adventure called Night of the Great Death, which is going to be released in October. This is a level 16 adventure. It exposes the secrets of the Grey Gardeners in the world of Galarion with new monsters and new magic items. Here's a summary of it. Galt's executioners are the masked and mysterious Grey Gardeners. Held above the laws of the chaotic nation, these grim killers soak the
Racked
revolution
land, yeah.
racked land in dread and blood. They behead the guilty and innocent alike with their magic guillotines, but few possess the courage to stand against them. The players must infiltrate the Grey Gardeners and put an end to their reign of terror. Race from haunted crypts to an elegant and ill-fated masquerade, the midnight chime will bring salvation or doom to a nation.
I love this. I want to play this so bad.
Yeah, it is. It's in October and
Oof.
it's so on theme for Halloween. I kind of want to say.
I'll I'll say this. I love the Grey Gardeners, not because they're good, But what I love about the Grey Gardeners is what an interesting, um, just what an interesting place setting this kind of world creates. And I was not inspired. I guess you could say I saw something and it gave me an interesting counter thought.
Hmm.
And the city or the country, depending on how you look at it, of Mir de Fer or Faramis, depending on who you're talking to, um, does have a lot of like Grey Gardeners and the world of Galt kind of influencing that, and I've tried to take that and like change it to be a little different, a little standalone. But yeah, you'll definitely see the touches all throughout there,
Yeah.
just
Uh,
because it's it makes for such a fascinating place setting to fight and to role play in.
yeah. Really quick, jumping in the chat. Reef Psyche. I get to play the Scarlet Pimpernel? Yes, you can.
Yep. Oh
Revolution!
yeah.
Oh god, now I'm thinking, oh, ooh, playing a firebrand in this game. Ooh,
Yes. Absolutely.
that'll be
Oh my god.
interesting. That'll be definitely interesting. But yeah, our next book, PJ. I think you're gonna be also really excited about this.
I'm excited. I'm really curious. In October, as well as Night of the Great Death, which sounds like a really fun game. Guns and Gears is finally going to drop. If you remember our playtest material, this book talks about the gunslinging class as well as the inventor class. The inventor class had that gigaton punch that was insane.
Mm.
So good. But we're going to get the official, probably balanced, more fleshed out gunslinger and the inventor class. This book is also to come with hundreds of new guns, which is awesome because guns can not only be great for a gunslinger, but can be amazing for a fighter or a guns everywhere campaign. It's going to have explosive clockworks, so you're going to get like less alchemical bombs and more like mechanical bombs, hands-on stuff. There's going to be a bunch of whole new inventions for the inventor to build, and it's just more. And so it's going to be another crazy book that's going to have new items such as prosthetic limbs, mechanical familiars if you want to play more of a mad scientist and less of a wizard, vehicles which are going to be amazing that you can probably use stat blocks for to have like car chases and
Mhm.
motorcycles. So Guns and Gears is going to be a campaign or a compendium that's not only going to offer some really cool stuff for Pathfinder Fantasy, but you can put it in your more modern campaigns to
Yeah.
great effect.
Also, as you said before, mechanical familiars, prosthetic limbs, and when we went to prosthetic limbs, I'm just reminded something I forgot to put down.
Mm-hmm.
In the Lost Omens Grand Bazaar, they got the rules for the combat wheelchair.
Finally,
Yeah,
yes, hell
there's
yeah.
there's going to be a store in the Grand Bazaar that specializes in the creation of combat wheelchairs, which is really cool.
Dude, I've been so stoked for that because like I want to create wheelchair based heroes for Edge of Legend. I
Hmm.
already have a handful that I'm going to be releasing when that time comes, right? But
Hmm.
I obviously don't have the mindset to understand one good way to do that. I have my way, but that doesn't mean it's the
Yeah.
right way. So I'm really happy that they've done their due diligence. Every time I've reached out to differently abled and disabled TTRPG players, they never really follow up with me back on my questions and trying to better like open space for that dialogue. Um, so I'm really happy as I'm sitting here going like, "Hey, that sounds really
Hmm.
cool. Let's talk because I'd love to learn." And then cricket chirps. I'm so happy Pathfinder already did that research. Paizo reached out to these individuals, asked them about it, and then they did the work and they're putting it in the game. So if you want to play a wheelchair-bound monk, swashbuckler, boom, you got it.
I'm just gonna have to correct myself once again. That's not in the Grand Bazaar. It's actually in the next book that we're gonna be talking about, which is the Lost Omens Absalom City of Lost Omens book that's gonna be released in November, which is gonna be chock full of NPC stories and the government of the city of Lost Omens Absalom, and that's gonna be a book that's packed huge with information.
Oh yeah, the sacred city of Absalom is one of the biggest chunks of Galarian lore, especially in the Lost Omens area. If you got to see the game that we did for Jasper's game day, we had Michael there, we had Reap Psyche from the chat there, as well as a handful of other people. It took place in a little city called Diabel, which is actually an island city just off the coast of Absalom. So I can tell you right now, having done research on both, they're both really cool settings
Oh yeah.
with some awesome lore.
really exciting. And jumping in the chat, Reap Psyche, have either of you seen FDR American Badass? Yes, I have.
I've not, and I'm kind of scared. I'm
It's
scared.
a really bad movie. Like, honestly, technically, Hard Target. I would put it
Oh,
Hard Target above this movie, but it's also bad. In you're gonna be pointing and laughing at how bad it is. It's bad. It's good. So bad. It's good.
oh, that reminds me of oh gosh, was it Jesus Christ Vampire Slayer? Like
Mm.
blasphemous is all hell, but I mean it's so dumb it's good. You know what
Hmm.
I mean?
But yeah, if you're looking to, if you're like me and looking to explore and jump into the world of Galarion, this book, Lost Omens, Absalom, City of Lost Omens, is your perfect jumping off point, I feel.
Yeah, it's definitely great, especially if you're like you want to write your own campaign in the world setting, but don't want to just follow a campaign book.
Hmm.
This is a great way to get all the information about Absalom. Because here's one of the goals I wanted to do eventually was take the Heck Knight game and use that as a potential backstory to
Hmm.
kick off an entire in-depth urban campaign setting entirely in Absalom.
Hmm.
You can do that. You get the Lost Omens book on Absalom, do all the research, and you can basically create any urban story, any urban adventure you want in the biggest city in the Galarian
Yeah,
world.
yeah, it's really good.
Uh,
Why don't you talk about the next book, which is Adventure Path?
Ooh, yes, another adventure path. It looks like this one's going to be at least a pretty solid campaign. It's called Quest for the Frozen Flame. This will be releasing January of next year. So just in time, like Christmas is gone,
Mhm.
everything's still kind of cold. Let's get in that headspace. 3 volumes, January, February, and March. The the notes on this and the details of this are kind of exciting because this is going to be like the journey north.
Mhm.
Cold. It's going to have Vikings. It's probably going to have a lot of different magic and culture from those cold lands. You're going to be able to enter the realm of the Mammoth Lords, and sure enough, there will be an archetype for Mammoth Riders, which I
Mhm.
believe was also a Pathfinder First Edition prestige class.
Yeah.
So basically, you're going to go on a quest with the community to discover the secrets of the frozen flame. So it sounds like they were talking about this isn't just like 5 people out in the wilderness. This is going to be a big group adventure
Yeah.
with other people working together.
Yeah. What's really cool about this, because I was in the chat for this the panel, and oh, we were there's gonna be mammoths, there's gonna be like some Viking stuff. There's What's really interesting about this is the area where this takes place, the culture, the community. It's in the time of the caveman, and some of us were actually kind of joking in chat. So yeah, with was it Guns and Gears, you could play an inventor, and your inventor could be wheel.
I make the living wheel. Well, what's really great is that in Pathfinder First Edition and a few other stuff, you have the series of campaigns called like the Savage Worlds or Savage, and
Mm-hmm.
the whole idea is that like you're playing a D&D campaign, but in a far ancient setting, where I think like everything has to kind of reset a little bit. So yeah, you definitely get to play like not quite full caveman, but definitely like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
ancient Greece where the
Yeah.
technology is very limited.
One of the developers during the chat described it kind of like that old 80 that movie in the 80s called The Clan of the Cave Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds really interesting. I know little to nothing like I said before about Galarion, and which means I know even less about this part of the world of Galarion, but it does sound like an interesting an interesting place to play, and I kind of want to say after that game, if you're playing like cave people, what
hmm
happens when they're introduced to civilization when you go down south?
There's a lot of really fun things you could do with that. It depends. But why don't we cover the next one? Because this one's pretty exciting. I remember
Mm-hmm.
I was in the Paizo Discord, and they were all on Twitter about this. So
Mm-hmm.
why don't you hit up this next one?
All right, it's going to be released in March of next year, 2022, called The Book of the Dead. And Yeah, you and I, we talked a little bit about this, PJ, and yeah,
Hmm.
this is going to be really interesting. It's a book that's going to be focusing on the undead of Pathfinder Second Edition. Um, it's not really a supplement; it's more of a lore book of the undead nation of Geb in the world of Galarion, and it's actually parts of the book is actually going to be written in the voice of the ruler of Geb, called Geb. If you're gonna rule a nation, I guess you could name it after yourself. There's gonna be rules on how to play an undead character. There's gonna be undead fighting gear, rituals, and more. So this is gonna be
If you really
pretty interesting.
like, it's gonna be amazing because if you really like I hate to say it, vampires,
Mm-hmm.
ghouls, things like that. Because before we've had the Domfear and the
Mm-hmm.
Dustwalker as versatile heritages, right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool. But this is really more focusing on the greater universe of the dead and the
Yeah.
necrotic, and
Also,
also
flesh
undead fighting
warps.
gear. Oh yeah, flesh warps. Yeah, I think there's a thing there too. So yeah, I'm excited because like also if you want to do a heavy undead story, where it's like two humans or like five friends versus just unending waves of the undead, this is a great way to have your zombie story, your Z
Yeah.
Day, if you will.
Or, oh, dude, I just thought of something. This would be really interesting. Entire party of flesh warps. They all wake up in a laboratory with no prior knowledge of who they were and what's going on. You're literally playing in a blank slate. That would be an interesting. That would be an interesting campaign.
I think it'd be really really cool. Like I'm really excited for it. Then again, everything here has been outstanding. Now we have to wrap up pretty soon, so
Mhm.
we've saved the best for last. Coming out, drum roll everyone, coming out April of 2022. This is perhaps one of the most loved and exciting and interesting campaigns from Pathfinder First Edition. It has been a video game. It has been a bestseller. It has been a card game. That's right. Pathfinder Kingmaker. Kingmaker is getting a Pathfinder Second Edition reprint. If you loved Kingmaker in its entirety and all the amazing things you could do to create a nation from the scraps against all hope as you were surrounded by enemies, in the friends you made along the way, that is being rebranded and rebuilt as a Pathfinder 2E campaign for us by Paizo. So towards the middle point, or at least like the beginning of the second quarter, Pathfinder Kingmaker Second Edition re-release. Get your Magus, get your undead friends, and get hype. It's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, and this actually might be the only 1E remake into 2E. Some of the developers have said they're not entirely sure they might do any other 1E remakes into 2E, but this might be the only one, and I think they picked a really good one.
I did hear scuttlebutt about them reprinting Rise of the Rune Lords as a
Mm,
second edition, only because Rise of the Rune Lords was the first ever Pathfinder 1 campaign,
mm,
right? It was big, it was ambitious. I think at the time it took a character from 1 to 15,
mm.
and it was kind of it was their Tomb of Annihilation, if you will, their
Yeah,
Tomb of Horrors. It was their big thing that got the
yeah.
whole campaigns kicked off and started.
Well,
But
yeah.
but Kingmaker is definitely the big one. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
actually, this has been in the works for a long time. It just kept getting delayed and delayed. And then, well, the pandemic happened and quite obviously delayed.
Yeah. So I'm just saying because I have had the chance and opportunity to run some really great Pathfinder 2e games. I haven't had the chance to play, and even though I've seen everyone play Kingmaker, I've never got my hands on Kingmaker as a player. So if anyone wants a champion Magus hybrid to play Kingmaker Second Edition, please. Um, Also,
Or,
quick shout out to Pencil Mage in the chat. I do like Galarian. I feel no conflict, and conflict is what brings a setting to life for me. I think the great thing about Galarian is that the conflict does exist. It's just not inherent to the culture of Galarian. There's definitely a lot of stuff you can pull from to create your own conflict, but it doesn't exist as a standard neutral part in in the people that inhabit that space, because then you get all the problems that arise from that.
Yeah, and to echo what PJ said, if you need somebody to play kind of a sneaky advisor, I know somebody who fits that role very well
Uh,
indeed.
what can I say? We have our types. We're typecast. We have our brands.
Hmm. All right, so anyway, that has been the ooh, 12 new upcoming products of Pathfinder Second Edition. That's a lot of stuff, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised as we get on through this year. Some more things are going to get announced.
Absolutely. We have almost a year of content from Paizo
Yeah.
coming out with new spells,
Hmm.
new classes, new campaigns, new short versions of stuff, and a whole butt ton of
Hmm.
magical items to grow your. So
Hmm.
I'm super hyped and super excited,
Yeah.
and I hope that maybe in the years come we can go. We'll be
Hmm.
doing shows at PaizoCon
Yeah.
online, and we'll tell
Hmm.
you more about that
And
if it comes.
also before we close out, I got a question for you, PJ.
Oh yes.
What's your short-term wish list for upcoming Paizo stuff? Let's talk about that
Ah,
really quick, and also chat. What are your Pathfinder Second Edition wish lists that you're hoping to see in about a year or so?
well, for starters, because every time I say investigator, I say inquisitor.
Mm-hmm.
And now, granted, inquisitor is kind of low in my classes that I love, but I love it. I would love to see the inquisitor pop up, if not as like one of the alignments for a champion, then just its own class. Because I feel like the judgments that they had in Pathfinder 1E was such an interesting system of like judging and self buffing and declaring your
Mm-hmm.
enemy. I'd love to see the inquisitor. um, I'm really reluctant on the shaman. The shaman was one of those things in Pathfinder 1E that had a very cool concept and kind of a weird execution. And last but not least, one of my favorite classes that was the Blood Rager. I know they've kind of done the Blood Rager with the different instincts that
Mm-hmm.
barbarians get, but I'd like to see that as like a whole new
Okay.
thing, or an expansion. So new classes. I'm always excited at new magical items because man, that just makes or break so much.
Oh
New
yeah.
runes, new shields. Give it to me.
Mm-hmm. For myself, I kind of want to say because I've talked about this in our Discord a few times. I think I even I talked about you with you definitely PJ a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I need my mesmerist. I need my mesmerist.
He's bad. He's like mesmerist. I'm like, wait for it to come out. Like, make our own. I'm like, I don't want to touch mesmerist and then have Paizo come out and do it. We're gonna wait.
Yeah,
Um,
because I feel by opening up mesmerist, you also open up the other psionic classes such as kineticist,
mhm.
and God, what's the other one? There was I think three: mesmerist,
There's a
kineticist.
few. You had mesmerist, kineticist, soul knife. I want to say psychic warrior. That might have been a 3.5 thing.
Mm,
And oh gosh,
mm.
there was like a hexist or
Yeah,
something.
but regardless, I want to see
Psionic?
a psionic system, psionic spells. I honestly still believe that you could meld the psionic spells with kind of either the arcane or occult spells together. But it'll be
Hmm.
interesting to see. But anyway, I want to see psionics. I definitely want to see mesmerist. I also really want to see some more archetypes where it gives you some more options. Maybe also a new system with grappling that I don't hate that you could go more in depth with. Like I want to see suplexes. I want to see submission moves. Like you don't have to dip into certain like the core classes. Something like with archetypes or just entirely
Yeah.
new systems with that.
I've definitely been working on it, because eventually, if you all decide, you're going to have to go back to South Asmacon to get Ichi's belt and
Mm-hmm.
honor it back from El Azul Kukui Jr. And I've been thinking about how to do a wrestling match in combat. And I'm playing with the idea of removing damage altogether and instead making choices and roles based on skill checks and desires that go on a bar of hype versus heat.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're wrestling each other, these two things are being affected by your type of wrestler. Are you a babyface, a heel, a hardcore wrestler, a air flyer, a power wrestler? You know, and that's going to affect your
Yeah.
hype versus heat meter, and that decides who wins with the final actions and that kind of stuff.
And also, just backtrack a little bit, I also think that, you know what, a mesmerist could also, honestly, doesn't even have to be a core class. I could also see it as an archetype. I wouldn't be mad about that. I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah. Well, I think there's going to be a lot of awesome stuff coming down the path. Let's not be too greedy. We're going
Sure.
to be having an amazing
Yeah.
year with the new classes, the 4 new classes that are coming out away from playtesting, but actual classes.
Yeah.
The probably almost 1,000 new magic items, which Pathfinder has given us some amazing stuff, magic items wise. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh,
sound
yeah.
greedy. It's not enough. So now that is just being done
We're
away with.
gonna
There's
get,
to be so much.
yeah, we're gonna get a lot of stuff. This is just, you know what, our personal little wish list. Jumping in chat, Reap Psyche posted, I've said it many times, but my main wish is that they take a sec and work with a group like Wolf's Lair to license their books so that they are high quality character creation programs. Hero Labs was a godsend in Pathfinder First Edition and enabled me to get so many more people into the game because it broke down the difficulty barrier to entry. And oh, Malice 1974 posted, and face to face gaming. I think we all missed that.
Yeah, I do. I do miss the good old days where you could sit at a table with someone and have a few beers and have a few chips and salsa and just
Mhm.
play. So I think that's going to be the greatest gift from Paizo. They didn't do that. We did. It's been the greatest gift of this year into the new year. Is that we're gonna go back to face gaming
Yeah.
in somewhere in the next like 3 to 5 months. So hooray! Ah,
Well, yeah,
man.
I think
With
we're at that
that being
time.
said, yeah, why don't we let's do a quick wrap up. Thank you so much for listening to our report on the PaizoCon and the amazing stuff that they hinted at and released. Let us know what you're looking forward to. Let us know your thoughts or feelings, and I hope to see you here. Mr. Michael Powell, please tell them who you are and where they can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
Well, I am Michael Powell. You can find me all over the internet on my social medias, which is at Mr. Kapow. That's MrKapao. And also, you can also find me on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Michael Powell Does Stuff, because I do a lot of stuff, such as my YouTube channel, which is called Fantastic Tales of Adventure, and we've just hit our second milestone, 500 subs. Next goal, 1,000. And yeah, you can also find me on the Toyzilla Network channel here on Twitch on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for a little show called Toyzilla Live, where me and my co-host, we talk about toy news and a lot of other nostalgia fun. So hope to see you there.
Yeah. Um, brain fart. So, that sounds awesome. Looking forward to all that. My name is PJ McGaw. You can find me all over the internet at pj.mcgaw, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Come find me. Let's have a good time. And when I'm not here with Mr. Michael Powell on Tuesdays, you can find me, him, and all of our friends for Edge of Legend, the Pathfinder 2nd Edition homebrew show. It's awesome. Very proud of it. Hope you guys check it out if you haven't already. Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on this channel. I think this week is going to be the big final fight with the leader of the Red Rock tribe of orcs. So that should be exciting to see. And I believe, I'm not certain, Ian is definitely back in town. So Woodward should be joining us for this climactic battle with this one of many bosses in the storyline. That being said, this week, of course, will not be a Poison Tulips game because last week was our last episode of Poison Tulips. We are on hiatus. We might be coming back for season 2. We'll see. But the one thing you can look forward to is that this Friday, June 4th, myself and a few other notable faces from Edge of Legend will be doing an awesome one-shot in the Deadlands with waffles and maple syrup. I think I'll be bringing back Brother Bo, who is always a creepy Louisiana Bayou priest, but now he's a boxer because I want to punch. So come look forward to that. And last but not least, tomorrow night when we go live with Edge of Legends, I'm going to get a link for something because in July, I have been asked to come back and appear in a Jasper's Game Day charity game. July 11th, I finally get to play Pathfinder 2E. I'm so excited. And it'll be, again, for the same great cause as always, suicide prevention. Every little bit helps. And tune in and watch me make an ass of myself as I play this game for the very first time in my entire life. And I'm not just GMing it. So we'll get the link to the raffle donations to get a seat to join me, as well as our GM, No Nat20, in this game July 11th. Love you all. Details to come. Links to come, and we will see you same Nat time, same Nat channel here at the table. Be safe, everyone.
Bye.